Star Wars Battlefront was a series of video games released last generation. Personally, I played them on the PS2, but they also came out for the Xbox, PC, Mac, and there were some portable ones too for like the PSP or something, but I never played those. I've only played Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, and I played them both only on the PlayStation 2. And they were pretty good. I love them personally. Their review scores both averaged around about 80%. So they got pretty good review scores. They sold pretty well. They're pretty popular. And it was overall a pretty good Star Wars game. It wasn't amazing, but it was definitely pretty good. I loved them. I played them probably for a total of about 150 hours because I just couldn't get enough of them. Also, my friends like Chris played them a ton too. If you're one of my about original 80 or 90 subscribers, you probably know Chris. He's that guy I've made a couple videos with. I did like the Assassin's Creed 2 review with him. I did Modern Warfare, and I did like some other stuff with him too. He's pretty much the only other person who's appeared in my videos, except there was a guy named Avi in my Metal Gear Solid 3 commentary. Chris, Avi, and I were all in that one. So Chris played these games a ton too, and recently we decided to go back and play them again. Now the online has been down for years at this point, but the split screen of course still works. So we went into that to try the game, and they have not aged well at all. Like, really, the balance was horrible. It wasn't at all like I remembered. I remembered it being just like pure awesome, but it hasn't aged very well. I'm not sure if maybe it's just I've gotten better, so now I notice these things, or maybe the game just aged really badly and video games got better. But either way, the multiplayer doesn't exist anymore, split screen is horrible, but the single player is still really good. The campaign is pretty good, and Galactic Conquest is awesome. But basically, Chris and I began to talk about ways the game could be better. Mostly, we said the balance could be better. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, they took out a lot of maps. We have no idea why they did that, but they should put the maps back in, we thought. Like, our favorite map was, like, on Tatooine, and they took out the entire map for the second game. So we're like, what's up with that? The first game has a map, but then the sequel doesn't. It's like, why would you make the sequel have less content than the original? It doesn't really make sense. So we began to think, if they made another game, Star Wars Battlefront 3, what should it be like? Well, recently Chris told me that they are making a Star Wars Battlefront 3. Maybe. It was announced 3 or 4 times. The first time was in 2006. Basically, we have no idea who's going to end up making it. We know LucasArts is publishing it, of course. Originally, it was with Free Radical was going to develop the game. They had problems in 2008. It was re-announced then with some other company, I don't remember. In 2009, there was like leaked gameplay footage. And in 2010, they talked about some more. Basically, they announced it again. Now, when I say they announced it, I mean, we have, like, leaked sources. Like, in 2009, someone put up a video of gameplay that wasn't supposed to be out there. But, like, someone just took a video during a conference and put it on YouTube. And basically, that's the confirmation that we have. Major companies haven't really confirmed it yet. It's still a rumored game. But it should come out, in my opinion. I'm kind of confused as to why there hasn't been a Star Wars Battlefront game in 4 or 5 years. It doesn't really make sense, because Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 got good review scores. They sold pretty well. They weren't like Halo, they didn't sell that much. Not Metal Gear Solid sales. They didn't even sell as much as like MotorStorm, but they still sold pretty well. I tried to look up how much they sold exactly. I couldn't find it, but if I remember, Star Wars Battlefront 1 sold like 1.5 million, about 2 probably sold a little over 2 million, which is pretty good. And they got good review scores, so I've been waiting for a third game this whole time, and I have no idea why I haven't made it yet. Because it's not like it should be a really long game to make either. So there's been a whole big mess, basically, with getting the game developed. It's switched developers like 5 times. Um, the name that keeps coming up, though, is Free Radical. Right now, we don't know who's going to make it, though. It's probably either going to be Free Radical, or it might be Pandemic. Because Pandemic's name they're the ones who made Battlefront 1 and 2. But I think they've been having financial problems, so we don't know what's going on. But it's kind of frustrating that they haven't made the third game yet, because, I mean, we keep on getting, like, Sonic the Hedgehog games. And yet Sonic the Hedgehog games aren't selling, and they're getting, like, horrible review scores. Okay, I know a ton of fanboys are going to be angry that I say this, but there really hasn't been a good Sonic game in about 10 years. So I don't know why we're still getting, like, a Sonic game every year. And yet Star Wars Battlefront has never had a bad game. It has better review scores and better sales. And yet we don't get one of those every year. So basically, I can't wait for the game to hopefully officially be announced. People were saying it's going to be announced at E3. That didn't happen, much to my disappointment. I'm hoping, like, maybe coming up soon it'll be announced. But right now, we're all just kind of holding our breath waiting for it to finally happen. I think it will, because, like I said, the games have been good in the past, they've sold, they've been pretty popular. And Star Wars games always make money, so they should be able to find someone willing to make it. But one thing I wanted to ask everyone on YouTube, to anyone who has played Star Wars Battlefront 1 or 2, or even like the handheld versions, like for the PSP that I never played, what do you think they should change in Star Wars Battlefront 3 to make it better? Chris and I both decided that the balance really needs to be fixed in the two-player games, but I've never played the multiplayer. So, how do you think the multiplayer could have been improved? And the single player, or anything else? Just how do you think the game could have been better?